Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and today I'm just sort of playing around in the garage, and I've got a break from my mowers. I'm all caught up on that work, and I have this vise that was thrown out at the scrap yard, and the problem's this ring on the bottom's broken. I believe this is cast. So what I'm going to do, I picked up this piece of 1/2-inch plate. I'm going to try and cut it and, fix this vise up. So that's what this video is about. This is rusted, but it's not stuck on there, so I'm thinking this may not have been sitting out too long. So this one locking key is actually bent, and I was going to hammer this on this anvil and then re-tap it, but I bought a 20-ton press. I'm going to try and use that actually. So I think I can line this thing up, and I don't know how well you guys can see it, but there's a little bit of a bend to it for sure. So we're going to try that like that, and I'll just try and push this down. Well, that was some pressure. I don't know how much. Still a little bent. Actually, it's bent a lot. I'm gonna put it up like this so I can see what I'm doing a little bit. See if that works. I'm not real familiar with this tool. I've only used it a couple times. Yeah, it's already bending. It doesn't take much. That looks pretty good. So I'm gonna re-tap that now. Gonna touch it up on the anvil anyhow. I gotta re-tap it, so what's the big deal? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Probably should have done that right from the get-go. Okay guys, so I did a fair amount of grinding because I had some issues cutting with my torch, and this is 1/2-inch plate, and my plasma cutter, it may have actually cut through it better than I did with that torch, but I decided to use the torch because I knew that would get through it, but I didn't quite have it set right, and I don't do that much metal cutting with that thing, so anyhow, it required a lot of grinding, but I got it. So that's going to be my base. We're going to bolt that way. And this swivel part is broken, so I'm going to repair this. This vise still swivels. So I'm going to start just by cleaning this up. These I'm going to put on the grinding wheel. Alright guys, so this piece is actually cast iron, and cast iron is really brittle, and the best way to connect it is actually to braze it, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I've got it set on this anvil right where it needs to be, and we're just going to go through, kind of heat it up and see if we can get it to stick together. I'm using a brass rod that's pre-fluxed. So we want to kind of turn it red, and then the brazing works a lot like solder, where it sort of flows in the crack. So that's why it's always good to braze cast iron. I'm going to go to the other side, because that machine surface I want to try and keep. The inside of this casting is rough. So I'll bring you guys in for a look at the brazing. And the main thing is you just want to let that cool on its own. Don't quench it or anything. So hopefully that fits up inside the vise. We're just going to have to let it cool and see. Well, with the brazing done, we have it stuck together. And I fitted in this track that this thing's supposed to fit in. And it's fitting nice, so everything's rotating. Now, I should mention this piece is missing here, so what I'm going to do is make a plate that actually covers this. So I'm going to be using some, appears to be about 1/8-inch plate. So that's going to be the next step. So this is the plate I'm going to use to cut it out. I want to mark exactly where these holes are and the exact circle. While I'm waiting for that paint to dry, I'm going to mark these ears. And I'm going to need to drill holes through here because this is how the vise is going to be mounted. Alright, next step is to kind of locate the center of this thing as best I can. And so I think the best way to cut the circle is to actually plasma cut it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. This stuff's 1/8 inch plate. It'd be kind of hard to cut with the grinder. This welding helmet I can set to grind. Alright guys, so I'm back to this piece that I brazed here, and I've got to make it strong enough that it's going to work, and I didn't have this piece with the vise when I got it. So I've made this plate that I've clamped on here, and now what I'm going to do is just kind of tack weld it on there to give it some strength, and that way where I welded with the brazing there, it should be strong enough. So I'm going to go through and tack that on, and hopefully this thing will work. I was trying to figure out exactly how this vise should go together in order to swivel, and I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm just kind of taking a guess at it that this method's going to work, because I don't have the original base with the vise, so that's why I've been making all these pieces. Okay guys, getting to the part where we gotta put this thing together, and I'm hoping it's gonna work. There's no guarantee. So I'm just trying to put a little bit of grease out here. That should be good. And then we need some here. So this will drop on here like that, and then this will go through there so that this can pivot. And what I'm going to do is just weld this nut or this bolt flush with the bottom of this thing. So it's recessed a little bit. I'm going to weld it real well, and then we'll grind it flat. Just gonna ground the excess of that weld away. Now the idea is that this should spin, so that's all working fine. And now I think all we have to do is set the vise on it and clamp it down. So here's how this works. There's obviously these 3 ears that'll allow the vise to bolt down to a table, and then this rotates freely. This is the broken part, and the vise should fit right on here. I got those holes lined up, and then these bolts, they're going to go through, and I believe it's just going to be a matter of getting them bottomed out properly. Alright. So we got to tighten these up. Now that one's definitely snug. So is this side. And I'm going to undo one of these clamps. So right now that looks good. We'll loosen this up, and the vise is locked. It's spinning because, there we go, clamp this thing down. So right there it's locked, and then if you loosen these up, it should spin. So that's loose. I think this clamp might be in the way. Yeah, we're hitting the clamp. So if you had to, you could turn it this way, and then we should be able to lock it down that way. That seems pretty good. Yeah, that cart that I got on is a little wobbly, but yeah, I think that'll work fine for what I'm trying to do. So the next video with this vise, and if you're not a subscriber, you want to subscribe so you can see what happens here, but I'm going to go through and redo this thing because it needs it. And you know, this vise is probably not even worth repairing. I probably have about 3 to 4 hours in it at this point. But that's kind of how you learn. I got to use my oxyacetylene torch to cut through that 1/2-inch plate, and I got to use my plasma cutter to cut that piece underneath, and I even got to do some brazing with this one. So overall, it was a fun project that tested my skills. I don't know how, super useful this vise is going to be for me, but I did have one of my friends over, and he said that he would take it. So it's going to be useful for someone if I'm not able to find a spot to use it. So anyhow, guys, like I said, if you're not a subscriber, think about subscribing, and I'll link below, when I get it done, the video for fixing this vise up. But I think it'll clean up and take some paint and work pretty well for me. So let me know what you think of this repair, guys. Double wide 6. Take care.